Hi, my name is Mack Kiatrungrit. I'm in Dr. Debin's Art History 150 course, and this is my final video project assignment on the structure stance, more specifically on the contrapposto stance used in many artworks and structures. So let me share my screen and then I will get right to it. Okay, great. So here's the structure stance. So a little bit of an introduction. So in ancient Greek history, this stance of the structure, known as the contrapposto, emphasizes the relaxed state of the figure. So this is kind of typically done through the axial tilt of the shoulders, the hips, and typically one leg is in front of the other. So as we can see with this example on the right here, we see the slight axial tilt of the shoulders, the hips are swayed slightly upwards, and one leg is in front of the other. And the two figures that I'm going to talk about today in my project are the prolific members of were prolific members in Roman royalty and politics. So the first was Augustus, and the second was Aulus Metellus. And for those who aren't familiar, Augustus was the first emperor of the Roman Empire, and his structure was made after their victory over the Parthians and just to celebrate his rule as a prolific leader. And the second, Aulus Metellus, was this kind of he was an Etruscan senator, and he was very respected within, kind of Roman politics and leadership. He made his way up as a magistrate and then kind of as a famed orator. And this stance is just really important in depicting specific figures, kind of just because of its correlation with power and being a voice of reason. So let's just talk a little bit about the stance and then the background of Augustus of Prima Porta. So statue is really tall. It's 6 feet 10 inches tall. It was made around 20 BC. We can see the use of contrapposto in the structure, evident with the use of tilt with his legs. We can see his left knee is slightly bent. His right leg stands slightly forward. We can see with his shoulders are slightly tilted, which emphasizes this arm being brought out, reaching out to a crowd and really serving as this voice of reason and rejoicement for the Roman Empire, right? And, whether that's him motioning towards a crowd of his militia or just regular citizens, it really just brings out his voice of power. And overall, his stance, and the detailed chiseling of the work just really bring out the advancement of artists during this time, along with how Augustus was just really held in high regard by his people. You can see it through, his elegant robes or this little Cupid here. It just kind of shows to see how his people saw him not just as a leader, but almost as a god. So a little bit about the stance and the background of the orator. So the orator, much shorter, 70 inches tall, and it was completed around 90 BC. And the use of contrapposto is evident. There's a slight tilt in the hips here. The hips are leaning upwards. The shoulders are leaning a little bit upwards as well, and the legs, he has his left leg in front of the right leg. This really just brings out, again, his emphasis of power, serving as a voice of reason and calm. And overall, the use of contrapposto just really brings out Autellus's ability to serve as a voice of reason and calm, with his arm motioning out to a crowd, whether it's likely a political crowd, and him just really serving as an offering of rejoicement, which really brings in the sense of community and being one together and rejoicing, as opposed to being a community divided. And just some last comparisons and contrasts between the two. So obviously, there's the obvious comparisons between the hand salute, the shoulder tilt, the front leg post forward. Some key comparisons, or some key contrast between the two could be the outfit. Autelus on the right, as we can see, is donning these much more less formal robes, whereas Augustus of Prima Porta on the left is donning these very elegant, high, shining, beaming robes. The material between the two structures is very different, and then the use of mythological figures, like I kind of mentioned earlier, but this Cupid figure below Augustus's right leg, it kind of emphasizes how his people saw him as not just a leader, but a god. And these are my sources: 3 articles, my 2 books, and my one article right here. So thank you.